Hey guys, and welcome to game number 56 out of 100 of the Mack vs. Machine series, where I'll be playing 100 games of Scrabble against the top online bot, HastyBot. We're coming off of a good win in game number 55, so let's see if we can keep the momentum going strong here. We should be first in this game, and we're going to be opening with a bingo of naivete. The only question is, where do we want to put it? We can't double the V since it's in the 4th spot, so we'll have to put one of the 1-point tiles on the double letter score. This is probably the most standard placement over here, which is fine. I don't love putting an E in the triple lane since it's one of the easiest tiles to end an 8 in, other than an S. The nice thing about that placement is it doesn't put any vowels next to the double letter scores. I guess we could also play over here. I just don't really like giving back big X plays or Z plays, so I'm going to just go ahead and play it over here. I think this is fine. Okay, he plays Nocebo for 20. Okay, draw for us here. The X is really nice, as is the S. WU, of course, is a bit clunky. I could score here with white, but it's a very risky play, of course, since I do have the S hook for it. I also set up XU, which is kind of cool. But it takes a D, an R, and an S. So there's a lot he could do there to cause some serious damage. So I want to think pretty carefully before I play that. Let's see, do I have any other ways to score? Maybe something with Nocebos. Don't see much, though. Obviously, something like 6 is a pretty terrible play. I could also just play the X immediately over here, actually, for 40. I just hate keeping WU together on my rack. So it's not a bad play, per se, but it's just a very uninspiring play. I mean, the nice thing about wipe is, if he plays over here, like a further word, the corner, then this thing is that I'll still, as long as I draw an A or an E, then I'll still be able to hit a big X play. So that's the good thing, right? Once again, if he plays over here, sorry guys, I don't know why my pen is not working for some reason. That's weird. But yeah, in any case, I don't know why my pen isn't working. But if he tries to play a word down from this corner here with wipes or wiper or wiped, then I'll still be able to hopefully score a lot of points if I can pick up an A or an E using this EX spot under wipe. So that would be one benefit. The problem, of course, is if he bingos or something with wipes, then he's going to be scoring quite a lot of points. So that's not great, but I think it's worth the risk here. There's a lot of upside, and I'm going to go for it, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so he plays Splinted for a bingo, and the good thing about that for me is he did leave this spot open, so I'll still be able to play XU, which looks like it's got to be the best play. Yeah, I can't really imagine there's anything better than this. Okay, he bingos now for 106, so very strong couple of turns for him. But we're not in that bad a spot here. We're only down 50 or so. And we do have now this D for wiped, so let's see if we can get anything there. I don't see much, unfortunately. Yeah, I guess I could play something like Doug. That would be pretty funny. I mean, it sets up huge plays with Dougs. There are 2 S's unseen and 2 blanks, and he'd probably use a blank to take away that spot if he had one. So I don't think it's quite worth it. I'm not down enough to need to take chances like that. If I were down a lot more, or if there were no S's unseen, it would be really interesting, but I don't think in this case it makes a lot of sense. Do I have anything through this I? I don't think so. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything there. So this is actually a little bit awkward. I don't have a great way to score points. Maybe just few. I mean, this leave is pretty constant heavy, but at least I'm scoring some points. And if I can pick up a vowel or two, then I should have decent potential. Like if I can pick up an A for dashy next turn, maybe to open up the board, that would be nice. So I think I'm going to go with this. I do need to score some points. I also actually saved D6 through this E with Nocebos for next turn or a future turn, which is a cool way to score like 35 points. So this actually seems like a pretty reasonable play. Okay, he plays audio, so he has some vowel trouble. Probably Half over here is the right play, I have to imagine. Right, that scores 51 points, keeps D, E, G, S, which I don't love the G, but otherwise it's a pretty strong leave. Not going to be bingoing here, I have to imagine. I guess I also have plays like Goofed. HS is a better leave, but it's certainly not 18 points better than GEDS. That's way too big a point sacrifice, and this O is not too scary. I'm not going to want to sacrifice that much equity to block it. So yeah, I think Half has to be the right play here. Yeah, it's just too many points. And I mean, the leave is not ideal because of the G, but it's certainly still not bad. Alright, he bingos again with Pedagral, so that's a nice play by him. We should be bingoing here. There's a lot of 7s on this rack. There's Girdles, Gliders, Ridgels, and Re-Gilds. Is that it? I think there's one more. Maybe that's it. Oh, I don't think I said Gilders. Yeah, it's Gilders and Re-Gilds. So yeah, there are 5. So I could play Gilders or Girdles over here for 77, which is not bad. The problem is, if I do that, there'll be big scoring plays on the bottom here, right? Hooking AG. And once again, I'd love to illustrate this with my pen tool, but unfortunately it's not working right now for some reason. So apologies again for that. But yeah, if he plays something under near where I have my arrow over here with Age or Aga, he could be scoring quite a lot of points, which is not ideal. I guess Ridgel scores a bit more. Yeah, problem is AR takes even more hooks than AG. At least then it would score a little bit less in a lot of cases. I'd love to play above Pedagral, but I don't think any of my 7s fit. Re-Guild almost does, but RA is no good. And I have nothing starting with an S to play here. I could, of course, play something here, too. Like, I could play Re-Guilds, but it's only 68. It's 12 points less, which is just too much to give up. And let's face it, there's still a big spot over here through the A and Pedagral and also this O. So I am blocking some stuff by bingoing here. So I think this has got to be the right play. Yeah, and I mean, as long as I can avoid getting hit too badly there on his next turn, I think I should be okay. Alright, that was definitely not a bad outcome at all. Only 33 points for him, and it's a pretty even game. We're down 8. Interesting rack here for us. We picked up 2 S's, which is nice. Unfortunately, I don't think we have a bingo here. And this is one of those racks where if you don't bingo, it's going to be kind of tough to score. So let's see what we can do with this. I don't think I can really overlap here, since I don't have a tile that goes below the S in Ridgel, so I can't do much in that corner. Do I have anything through this I? Sandy, that's not a word. Yeah, I actually have pretty few opportunities here to score, as far as I can tell. Which is rather annoying. Maybe I want to just play something with Naivetes. I would like to keep my E. There's only 2 E's left. So the E is starting to become somewhat valuable. Yeah, I guess I could play Sand for 21. I mean, SEA it's not a bad leave at all because it's a fairly consonant heavy pool. We see there's 20 consonants and 12 vowels. So normally SEA is a little bit more vowel heavy than I'd like, but in this pool I think it's actually perfectly fine. It scores reasonably too. I don't mind getting rid of one of my S's given I have the second one. So it's not a very exciting play, but I just don't see any ways for me to really score more points than that, unfortunately. And at least I do turn over some tiles for either the blank or maybe the Z or just another scoring tile. So yeah, I just don't see anything better. So I'm going to go ahead and play sand. Okay, so he bingos again with Remedial. And I do at least have Aranus over here, which I think I kind of have to play. I mean, it's the only bingo, and it'll pretty much tie the game. So it'll come down to who can draw the vowels, I think, and the scoring tiles, and maybe avoid the Q as well. Okay. So he drops the Q. We're down 20. Very interesting draw. We have JKZ, which is actually maybe not a bad thing, because we're going to be able to score a lot of points with it. I don't think I have anything through this E that uses my J or my Z, which would of course be ideal. I think I just play Celt, though, because I save Bozo for 45 next turn. I could do Bozo immediately, also. Yeah, I have options here. Do I have anything? I have this spot, too. Like, I'm close to Kanji or things like that I need to watch out for as well. But I think this spot is probably the best one for him, because he could easily have things like Therm over there. I'd like to keep my O for sure. This is my only vowel. I think Celt is a good play. I mean, he's probably not going to bingo, and I think with Bozo and the J, I actually have a decent shot if I can avoid like getting too many more clunkers to outscore him in the endgame. So I feel like this is a good play. Yeah, I don't think Bozo immediately is correct, because he's fairly unlikely to use that spot, and I should get Bozo next turn. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and play Celt. Wow, he plays Ohm over there? That seems like a crazy play. I mean, now don't I just play like Jury and win? I mean, I obviously have to go there because he's potentially threatening to bingo out with Nitrite or Tinier, making Eon. So, I mean, I have to go there. And he can't really score. He can't bingo to this H. There's nowhere else for him to bingo, and he's not going to be able to score with that rack. So if I just play Jury and save Bozo for next turn, I mean, that's 60 points. Like, don't I just win? I guess was his idea that, I mean, I guess it's HastyBot, so he's probably just playing for equity, but like, a rational idea could maybe be there was just one Y left, and maybe I wouldn't have a hook? I don't know. Seems like a crazy play. I don't think I have anything higher scoring there. Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to play Jury. I fail to see how I can possibly lose after this. Oh, wow. I admittedly did not think about that. That's pretty cool. I mean, I'm still going to win. I'm definitely still going to win, because Bozo is a lot of points, and I saved Bozo. So I don't think it would have actually changed my decision, but that is pretty sick. I definitely did not think of that. So he actually takes a lead here. He's up 517 to 508. So a massive scoring game. But yeah, now I'm just going to play Bozo for 45, and then he'll probably go out with Tint. And after I pass, I'm going to win 553 to 525. Wow, what a game. That is a really, really high-scoring game. 525, definitely the highest loss of this series, and it's very rare that you see someone lose a game with more than 500 points. Even losses above like 470 are quite rare, and 500 point losses are quite a sight to see when they happen. But yeah, I mean, I have to imagine that HastyBot mismanaged the end of that game there with Ohm. I mean, I still felt I was in good shape if he didn't do something like that, but like he should have at least just played HM or something in that spot, I think, to not give so much back. Like, I just don't see how that possibly could have been his best play, but we'll take a look. But yeah, crazy game. So yeah, obviously bingoing here is correct. There's options as to where to play it, but I think the best advice I would give in a situation like this is the differences between the placements are small enough that the best move here is to just sort of decide quickly. and play something it's not really worth wasting, certainly not more than like a minute in a normal tournament game on. You're much more likely to be able to use that minute to your advantage later on if there's a tight pre-end game or something like that. The difference or the likelihood that where you play an opening bingo like this will make a difference is fairly slim. So I think just any decision is fine as long as it's fairly efficient. This was a weird turn. I mean, obviously white has a ton of drawback, but as we saw in the game, it sets up XU, and often enough that spot won't be taken, so it has a lot of upside. And my next best play, which is pretty much just XI, there's really not much else. Wax is pretty awful. I mean, it's just such an uninspiring play. Like, yeah, it scores 40 points, but PUW together is so bad, and I mean, I just don't really leave myself much of a future. So given that, I think being aggressive here and figuring that many times if he plays next to wipe, he actually won't block my X spot. And when he does, I mean, it's hopefully as long as he doesn't bingo, he won't be scoring a ton of points. So I think it's very risky, but it's a risk worth taking. And here I'm sort of lucky actually that he played elsewhere on the board because he did bingo, but he allowed me to still play my XU for 50 points as I had planned. Of course, HastyBot had other ideas than letting me simply just score my way to a big lead, and he bingos back immediately with Vestiary for 106. And let's see, oh, I missed Sued over here. That's a cool play. I think I was only looking at Wiped as a potential hook. Not sure I like it, though. I mean, FW is a bit clunky. The problem with Few is it scores well and it keeps the S, but it's just a little bit consonant heavy as a whole. I still think I'm okay with it, though, because as I mentioned, I do keep D6 over here, which is nice. And with an A draw, of which there are quite a lot, I have Dashy over here, and I should hit some other plays through the I, too. So I think it's reasonable. And I guess if I were to see it, I have Sue next turn through the U as well, or something like Doug's. So I think I have enough potential with this leave after Few that it's a fine play, but there's certainly nothing wrong with this, too, because I'll often get Few next turn or something like that. But I think I'm still fine with playing it immediately. Just DGHS is a bit more flexible as a whole than FW, since I'm as long as I pick up one vowel, I should have a reasonably flexible rack, and the FW could get clunky very quickly. So I should have at least considered Sue or Sued, probably Sued, but I think Few is reasonable. Yeah, tough draw for the bot here. Audio looks fine. I mean, it's 19 points, so it's certainly worth it over exchanging. Half, yeah, this has to be correct. Goofed or hoofed. I didn't look at hoofed, but I think goofed is better just because the H is so much better than the G, especially with the SH combo, which goes so well together. But half is so many points that I think it's got to be correct. This is a nice play by the bot. The only other bingo is Arugula, which is pretty clearly worse since it scores 8 less. Both of them do give a lot back in terms of scoring potential, but it's hard to say that one is so much better or worse than the other in terms of how much it gives back, so I don't think there's any compelling reason for him not to take the extra points. Let's see, yeah, Rigels looks fine. My other options, yeah, are Gilders or Gliders, Gilders or Girdles in the same spot, which have the same drawback of giving back that 15H triple, and it's just too many points to give up to play over here. I mean, when I'm not in a strong position, I'm trailing here. I need to, I'll be taking a slight lead, but he's going to be scoring a lot of points, and I'm probably not really going to be in the lead in the long term after this play, so I don't think I really want to be sacrificing a ton of points. And as I mentioned, I mean, if I play over here, this spot is still quite scary. I mean, he could play Zany for 78 there pretty easily. He could play something through this O, so it's even debatable whether the spot after Rigels is any more dangerous than the spot after Gliders. It actually might not even be, so I think this is pretty clearly the best play. Interesting. So yeah, he had the blank here, actually, and yeah, I guess he can't really do much other than ace. I mean, AEI, actually AEI blank is a pretty good leave, just because the pool is constant heavy, and at least he does take away the spot and score 33. So I think up to now, at least, he's playing quite reasonably. Yes, Sand, again, not a very inspiring play. Like, it scores 21, keeps AES. Like, it's not very exciting, but unfortunately, there's really nothing exciting with this rack. I guess I could have just played As to go for a bingo. Maybe this would have been a little bit better, because I do have this strong bingo line on column C hooking AY. And ADENS does probably bingo quite a lot with that pool. Maybe I should have played as. I'm starting to think I should have, because I think the 8 points are probably a little bit less important than the bingo potential. Since the pool is strong enough, I have to imagine that he's reasonably likely to bingo again at some point. And it turns out he did next turn, and I fortunately did pull a bingo. But I actually kind of think I should have gone with as here. Because ADENS is so strong with this pool. I mean, I's, R's, T's, like any combination of those will get a bingo. As long as I can avoid like one of the high point tiles or another N or something like that, I'm in really good shape to bingo. So I think as would have maybe been better. Of course, the nice thing about sand is it scores more, and I give myself a better chance to draw like the Z or another high scoring tile or the blank. So sand is not a bad play by any means. I just wonder if I probably need to run a long Quackle simulation to get a handle on what really ends up better for me, but I do have a feeling that as the bingo percentage increase might be substantial enough that it makes it worth it. But yeah, I didn't actually really consider that, which at least I should have. I think it's a very interesting idea, though. But that being said, I wouldn't really call sand a mistake. I think it's a very reasonable play. He bingos with Remedial, and yeah, this is the one problem, I think. If he bingos here, I pretty much have to immediately bingo over here, which I fortunately did. Because if I don't bingo there, then he's going to be able to block that line, and I'm completely bereft of places to bingo. So I think that's one argument for as, at least against a human opponent. Of course, HastyBot, as we saw, might not block that lane, even when he should strategically. But against a human, I'd be thinking if they bingo in either of these places, I'm going to need to bingo back immediately in the other place to come back. And as at least maximizes my chance of doing it. I got pretty lucky after sand that I did pull this bingo out of the bag. But yeah, so a little fortunate there, but we'll take what we can get. QI looks quite solid by the bot here. I mean, HINORT is a good leave, gives some good scoring potential with the H and overall flexibility. Yeah, Celt seems fine. Bozo is an option, but I like keeping the Val for flexibility, and it's much more likely that after Bozo he'll block Celt next turn than that after Celt he'll block Bozo, since he doesn't really have a great way to score down there. And then this is the play, guys. I mean, this cannot be right. I mean, yeah, look, I mean, there's so much in the pool that goes before ON. There's an E, there's an I, there's a T, there's a Y. Like, he probably literally would need to draw 3 of those and hope the 4th is in the bag. I mean, this makes no sense. Like, even if he just plays... I mean, this is a pretty scary play, too, though, because... I mean, HO still takes an O, an R, and a T. I mean, what are his other options? Yeah, like, what if... Well, he empties the bag after this, which isn't great. But, like, just play Moho, right? I mean, you go up... It's not a great position, right? I mean, you go up 8, there's 1 in the bag, you don't have good scoring tiles, and there's so much scoring potential unseen. So I get this isn't a great position. Or maybe play HM over here? I don't know, but like, this cannot be the right play. I mean, it literally cannot be. Because I'm going to be scoring 50 points there, and once I score 50 points, the game is over. I mean, I don't think there's anything through the 8 to the H he can draw, right? I mean, Perianth isn't possible. Like, I just don't see how this ever wins. And I'm not saying that these other plays here are particularly good, but like, these plays at least have to win sometimes if he draws maybe like the Z and the E or something. Like, every time he does this, I'm going to score 40 or 50 points and just win the game. So, I don't know, guys. I mean, this is, I think, just an example of HastyBot going on full equity mode. And this is probably one of the most blatant examples we've seen of this in the whole series. I mean, I can't imagine any humans who would make this play. I mean, it's quite obvious, given all the hooks unseen and the J and the Z, that this is pretty self-destructive. And as we saw in the next turn, I mean, yeah, I guess maybe I should just play Joy over here to stop the re-injury possibility, but of course, Jury is perfectly fine because I save Bozo next turn, which will be more than enough to outrun this nice play that he has. And he's actually in the lead here, as I mentioned, but yeah, I just play Bozo for 45. He goes out, and I win pretty comfortably by a massive score of 553 to 525. So, crazy game. I mean, overall, I'm happy with how I played. I think no obvious mistakes on my end. Some questionable plays. Few was questionable. I think wipe was correct, but still debatable, and sand was questionable. But overall, I'm happy with how I played, and until the Ohm turn, honestly, I think HastyBot was playing quite solidly too, but he just kind of went off the rails there, going after equity, and yeah, I mean, like I said, given what I had, I think I would have probably won the game, even if he made a more sort of rational play, so to speak. But he could have at least given himself more of a fighting chance with something in the bottom left corner, or at least even just HM or something like that would have given me a much harder time. So yeah, I don't know, guys. I mean, it's kind of unfortunate that the game ended that way, since it just became such an easy win for me. It was shaping up to be a very interesting strategic pre-endgame with a tight board, and me having the J and the Z and everything. But I mean, it in my favor, but it kind of got ruined after his bizarre play of Ohm. But yeah, I mean, overall, it was a good game. It was definitely a shootout, as we'd like to say. Lots of bingos. He bingoed 4 times, right? Yeah, he played Splunted, Vestiary, Remigio, and Pedagogue. So he bingoed 4 times. I bingoed twice. Wow, no, 3 times, because I played Naivete, Rituals, and Aranus. So yeah, 7 bingos total. Him 4, me 3, and I just sort of made up for that difference by scoring a lot with the power tiles like Jury, XU, and Bozo. So yeah, crazy game, lots of scoring, and I mean, other than the Ohm term, I think it was well played by both of us. So kind of a shame that happened, but yeah, it is what it is, and that's part of playing against HastyBot. But we will gladly take the win, and hope you guys enjoyed that game, and thanks as always for watching, and I will see you all soon for game number 57. So yeah, there you have it, guys. As always, feel free to leave any questions or suggestions in the comment section, and I look forward to seeing you all soon for game 57. Have a good one. Bye-bye.